Ethan, today is a day that you're going to remember for a very long time, but if you handle it right, you're going to have a chance to forget it.
Who are you?
Knowing won't change anything, and I hope I don't have to execute someone close to you to prove it. One bag for one life.
The movie begins with a mysterious man in black, known as the Traveler, walking into a plain-looking building. He's not there to chat. This guy is all business. He sets his gun down and tries to buy a vehicle, but the dealer tries to charge him double the price.
Custom inspector doubled his price.
Big mistake. Before the dealer can finish talking, he starts coughing badly, then falls to the ground, bleeding. The Traveler doesn't stop there. He takes out the dealer's partner too, then sets the building on fire. Without a word, he grabs his new ride and drives off into the night. Meanwhile, in a much calmer scene, Ethan Kopech wakes up next to his girlfriend, Nora. It's Christmas Eve, and Ethan is excited about the holiday, talking about how much he loves it. But life hasn't been great for Ethan. He's been stuck in a boring job as a TSA officer at LAX for 3 years, and his career hasn't gone anywhere. Nora, who works as a manager at the airport, is the one good thing in his life. As they get ready for work, Nora gently encourages Ethan to try applying to the police academy again. It's been his dream for years, even though he failed the first time. Ethan, though, seems more focused on getting through the day than chasing his dreams. On the bus ride to work, Nora brings up how she turned Ethan down a few times before finally agreeing to go out with him. She uses this as a little pep talk, reminding him not to let one failure stop him from trying again. Soon, they arrive at LAX and head off to their respective jobs. As Ethan walks through the airport, a man bumps into him, leaving him annoyed.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too.
Rushing to make up for lost time, Ethan still ends up late. Again, his boss, Phil, clearly fed up, gives him a look,
Kopech, just in time.
but moves on to briefing the team about a new directive from the Department of Homeland Security. The order? Use a special smart pen to spot fake boarding passes and report anything suspicious to their senior officer, Leo. Later, feeling a spark of motivation, Ethan decides to ask Phil for a promotion. But as expected, his boss points out his constant tardiness and shuts him down. Ethan, however, isn't ready to back down. He marches into the office to make his case, confidently listing off his qualifications and even claiming he's better at spotting fake boarding passes than Officer Leo himself.
What?
Seeing an opportunity to help, Ethan's colleague Jason steps in and offers to let Ethan take over the scanning machine to prove his skills. Near the airport, a white van pulls up. Inside, a man is tied up by someone called the Watcher. The Watcher gets to work, hacking into the airport security system, including all the cameras. Meanwhile, Nora, now at her duty post, gets a curious message from Ethan. She replies, eager to know what's going on, and heads off to meet him. Back at the security checkpoint, Ethan receives the smart pen from an officer and takes his place at the scanning machine. Determined to prove himself, he focuses intently on the task, carefully checking each item that passes through. Meanwhile, the Traveler, the same guy who bumped into Ethan earlier, checks in with the Watcher outside the airport, but there's a problem. Jason, Ethan's colleague, was supposed to be at the scanning machine, not Ethan. Realizing this, the Traveler and the Watcher start digging into Ethan's background, looking for ways to pressure him. The Watcher quickly finds Ethan's address and discovers he has a girlfriend, Nora, who's pregnant. Just then, a passenger approaches Ethan and hands him an item, claiming it's not hers. Inside, Ethan finds an earbud. He's about to take it to Lost and Found when he gets a notification telling him to put it on. As soon as he does, a calm but menacing voice comes through, delivering a chilling threat.
Ethan, today is a day that you're going to remember for a very long time, but if you handle it right, you're going to have a chance to forget it.
Ethan must let a specific bag pass through the scanner without raising any alarms, or Nora will die. At first, Ethan thinks this is some kind of prank or a test from his colleague to see if he's up to the job, but the voice insists it's not a joke, and this is very real. The Traveler starts giving Ethan instructions. He tells him to let a man wearing a red cap, heading for Northwind Flight, pass through security without being checked. When Ethan nervously asks,
Okay, I'll play along. What's in the bag?
the Traveler brushes him off, coldly saying,
Diamonds, out of Papua New Guinea.
Bullshit.
To make things worse, the traveler starts listing Ethan's home address and personal details about his family. At this point, Ethan realizes this is no joke.
Who are you?
I'm just a traveler headed home for the holidays just like everyone else.
Desperate, he tries to subtly call 911, hoping to get help, but the watcher catches him immediately and alerts the traveler. The traveler doesn't waste time.
Hang up now or Nora dies.
Panicking, Ethan ends the call, locks his phone in a drawer, and tries to steady his trembling hands. The traveler's instructions are clear. Just check the luggage and don't cause trouble. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Detective Elena, who arrives at the location to investigate the murders of the dealers from earlier. She finds a watch and opens it, discovering an ATF bug, a device used by law enforcement to spy on criminals. It belonged to the dealer who was wearing it when he died. Back at the airport, passengers are rushing to catch their flights. Ethan, still trying to find a way out, attempts to send a message using his smartwatch. But, once again, the watcher catches him, and Ethan is forced to put the device away.
Reach down and cancel that text right now.
The traveler, now furious, starts threatening Ethan more aggressively, revealing even more personal details about his life. Ethan is left stunned, wondering how the traveler knows so much about him.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the guy you listen to.
Meanwhile, Detective Elena takes the damaged ATF chip to a colleague for help. After some careful analysis, they manage to recover fragments of audio from the badly degraded chip. It's not much, but it's a start. Back at the airport, the traveler drops a bombshell. He's just a facilitator, hired to get the job done, no questions asked. Ethan, now on high alert, keeps a close eye on the traveler, who casually sits in a nearby chair, watching everything. Trying to outsmart him, Ethan shuts off the scanner and asks a passenger for their boarding pass. While pretending to check it, he scribbles down details about the traveler's identity and discreetly slips the note to Officer Leo, acting like it's part of routine security. Officer Leo reads the note and immediately understands the seriousness of the situation. He heads off to call for backup, but the traveler, always one step ahead, senses trouble. Before Leo can act, the traveler sneaks up behind him and injects him with a fast-acting poison, causing a fatal heart attack. Now, face-to-face with the traveler, Ethan gets a chilling warning. If he tries anything, Nora will be killed. The traveler makes it clear his rules haven't changed. Ethan just needs to let the luggage pass through without causing any trouble. Ethan returns to his post, but his superior unexpectedly reassigns him to his original position near the metal detector, throwing a wrench in the traveler's plan. The traveler isn't happy and warns Ethan that failing to return to his designated spot will have deadly consequences. Desperate, Ethan comes up with a risky plan. He steals some alcohol from a store, mixes it with coffee, and swaps it with Jason's drink. When Jason's superior smells the alcohol, he fires him on the spot.
These people's safety depends on you.
It's not mine.
I don't care what problems you have, you don't bring them here, all right? Let's go.
As Jason leaves, he gives Ethan a knowing look, as if he realizes Ethan was behind the switch. With Jason gone, Ethan takes back his post and reluctantly lets the suspicious bag pass through the scanner without raising any alarms. Detective Elena is hard at work, trying to make sense of the fragmented audio recovered from the ATF chip. Soon, she identifies the word Novichok, a deadly nerve agent famously used in Russian chemical warfare. Realizing the gravity of the situation, she immediately contacts Homeland Security.
Get me Homeland.
Meanwhile, at the airport, Ethan lets the suspicious bag pass through the scanner and returns the boarding pass to the traveler, a man named Mateo. Overwhelmed by guilt, Ethan rushes to the restroom where he breaks down. The traveler, always watching, coldly explains the danger of Novichok, describing how even a tiny amount can cause organ failures till death.
Well, it's an A234 nerve agent called Novichok 7. Causes instant cholinergic crisis, followed by massive internal bleeding. Russians love it. Body breaks down organ by organ until eventually you drown on your own blood.
Back at the police station, Agent John from Homeland Security arrives to review Elena's findings. However, both Elena's captain and the agent are skeptical. They can't justify declaring martial law based on what they call soft evidence. Just as the tension rises, Elena's colleague interrupts with urgent news.
EMS had a 911 call placed at 10:04 this morning from inside LAX. Line is registered to a TSA officer, Ethan Kopech.
Told you.
At the airport, Ethan meets Nora during his lunch break. She's eager to hear the news he mentioned earlier. Ethan tells her about his promotion, But Nora isn't thrilled. She knows this isn't what he really wants and worries it won't make him happy. Meanwhile, Elena and her team wrap up their investigation, and the police quickly arrive at the Northwind terminal to investigate the potential threat. The atmosphere in the busy airport grows tense as Phil informs the crew that the cops are conducting random security checks on passengers as a precaution. Seizing an opportunity, Ethan secretly accesses the scanner logs using Phil's credentials and manually flags Mateo, the traveler's associate, for inspection. Once the coast is clear, Jason confronts Ethan. He knows what Ethan did and warns him not to speak to him again.
Jason, I can fix this.
Don't ever talk to me again.
As security officers flag Mateo for a bag scan, the traveler realizes Ethan is behind the disruption. Furious, he prepares to take action. Ethan, now consumed by fear and guilt, decides to run and save Nora.
Sit right back down. You leave that post here and breach. Hey.
This is over.
Hey, Ethan.
Meanwhile, the Watcher drives to a secluded area and sets up his sniper rifle. Just as Ethan reaches Nora, he notices a red laser dot tracing her head. A sniper's aim. Nora, unaware of the danger, confronts Ethan, demanding to know if he was responsible for Jason's sudden dismissal. Before Ethan can respond, the traveler warns him over the earbud, threatening to shoot Nora if Ethan doesn't back away. The traveler confronts Ethan in the bathroom, launching a vicious attack. In a desperate move, Ethan grabs a gun and points it at the traveler, demanding he call off the sniper targeting Nora. But the traveler doesn't back down. Instead, he activates a timer, revealing a weapon set to explode in just 10 minutes. Panicked, Ethan races to stop the bomb. When he arrives, he finds Phil with Mateo. The traveler, still controlling the situation, urges Ethan to shoot Phil. Ethan hesitates, but before he can decide, Mateo stabs Phil with a pen, killing him instantly. Mateo, now visibly shaken, confesses to Ethan that he's just another pawn in the traveler's plan. His husband has been taken hostage by the Watcher, forcing him to obey the traveler's orders. With the traveler's guidance, Ethan manages to defuse the weapon, buying himself some time. Meanwhile, Elena and Agent John are on their way to the airport when Elena gets a call from a colleague. She's informed that LAX has sent over a list of high-profile individuals, but the conversation takes a dark turn when Elena realizes the man beside her isn't really a Homeland Security agent. She confronts him, and a fierce fight breaks out as their car speeds down the road. The vehicle crashes, but Elena manages to eliminate the imposter. She quickly commandeers another car and races toward the airport. Back at the airport, Ethan and Mateo struggle to hide Phil's body. The traveler then orders Mateo to kill Ethan. As Mateo moves to obey, Ethan fights back, and a chaotic brawl ensues. In the struggle, Mateo accidentally shoots himself. Mortally wounded, he apologizes to Ethan before dying. Ethan grabs Mateo's phone and tries to call Nora, but she doesn't answer. Frantic, he messages a colleague, urgently warning them that Nora is in grave danger. The traveler approaches Ethan, demanding he hand over the bag, but Ethan takes off running with it instead. Elena arrives at the airport and immediately starts asking for Ethan. Nearby, Ethan's friend finds Nora and shows her the message about the threat, warning her to watch out for a white van. Just then, the Watcher appears, and Nora spots him. He starts walking toward them. Ethan's friend tries to stop him, but the Watcher quickly takes him down.
Hey man, what's up? I got the deal for you. Upgrade to business class select right now.
Meanwhile, the traveler makes his way to the terminal. Outside in the parking lot, the Watcher chases after Nora, but the Watcher crashes his car, giving her a chance to hide. Back inside, Agent Elena discovers Mateo's lifeless body. Just as she's processing this, Ethan runs out. She orders his arrest, but Ethan tries to explain the situation. Elena isn't having it and moves to handcuff him. In a quick move, Ethan knocks the gun out of her hand and escapes, shouting more details about the traveler as he runs. Nora, still on the run, attacks the Watcher to break free. Just as she does, Ethan finds her. In a moment of relief, the two hug, though it's probably not the best time for that. The Watcher shows up again, but before he can act, Mateo's husband appears and shoots him, saving Nora and Ethan. Ethan and Nora approach Mateo's husband, who reveals a shocking twist. The traveler isn't heading to New York as planned. He's actually on his way to Washington, D.C., With 2 tickets in hand, the traveler arrives at the gate, and the same woman who gave Ethan the earbud earlier hands him a bag with the tickets. Meanwhile, Nora heads to the airport to find Elena. Unbeknownst to the traveler, Ethan has switched the bomb into an identical but larger suitcase, forcing him to stow it in the plane's cargo hold. The suitcase is eventually scanned, but the traveler remains unaware. Nora and Ethan figure out which plane the traveler is on. Ethan explains that the only way to stop him without raising suspicion is to let the plane take off. Elena receives a call from her colleague, who reveals the traveler's true target, a congresswoman on a flight to Washington, D.C., who advocates for increased weapons funding. Nora finds Elena and fills her in, stressing that only Ethan knows how to disarm the bomb.
You can't ground that plane.
Tell your boyfriend to stay out of it. We got a trained killer on board with a bomb.
And the moment he sees anyone coming, he will set it off. Ethan can disarm it without him knowing. It's the only way.
Ethan sneaks into the cargo hold and starts working on deactivating the bomb, but the traveler gets an alert and heads straight for his luggage. He finds Ethan and threatens him to drop the suitcase. When Ethan refuses, the traveler shoots him. In a final desperate move, Ethan locks the traveler inside an airtight refrigeration unit with the Novichok, killing him. The plane safely lands and police and other agencies swarm the scene. Ethan is taken into custody, but Elena arrives just in time. She orders the officers to let him go and thanks him for saving countless lives. 1 year later, life has changed for Ethan and Nora. The couple, now with their newborn child, are at the airport, ready to embark on a much-deserved vacation to Tahiti. They're joined by Jason and his family, who've clearly moved past the events of that chaotic Christmas Eve. As they approach the TSA checkpoint, Ethan casually places his LAPD badge in the scanning tray, a small but powerful symbol of how far he's come.